Captain, the force field around the castle is extremely intense. I get the same energy signature from it as I did from the triplane that attacked the Enterprise.
Mr. Spock, is there any way to penetrate it?
The force field permeates the ground, Captain. The largest weapons of this era could not penetrate the force field. If we could generate a disruption on the wavelength, the field could be breached, although we would not have much time before it was re-established.
How could we generate such a disruption?
By physically destroying other objects that resonate on that wavelength. Objects like the power objects that we have already found.
Well, here we are. I wonder what kind of death this person has in store for us.
An impressive edifice.
Here we are at Trelane's doorstep. What's the matter, Trelane? Is the great Baron of Gothos afraid to come out and play?
I would have thought someone with Trelane's ego would have jumped to make a grand entrance from the castle.
Obviously, he's waiting for a moment of maximum theatrical effect. Or maybe you're just a coward, Trelane.
It is interesting that he does not choose to appear at this time.
Quite annoying, although perhaps I should count my blessings.
You put the locket in the triplane. You put the chalkboard in the triplane. You put the clock in the triplane.
Affirmative, Captain.
Everyone stay well back.
I suppose I should be angry at you, Captain, with your act of vandalism against my beautiful aircraft. But then, barbarians will be barbarians.
There's only one barbarian in the room, Trelane, and I'm looking at him right now. Release my ship, Trelane. And don't you ever grow up, Trelane? You may have powers of a god, but that doesn't even come close to making you a man. There's only one barbarian.
Captain, you're even ruder and more antagonistic than I remembered. How wonderful!
What must I do to make you leave me and my crew alone?
I have no interest in leaving you alone, Captain. As for your crew, you're only a few feet away from them. Observe my trophies, Captain Kirk.
Well, how does the great James T. Kirk get us out of this mess? Or the ones who will get out of this mess alive?
None of us will get out of here alive if we don't stick together. Do you have any ideas, Mr. Ellis?
Have you ever played hide-and-seek, Captain? From what you've told me, he's a cosmic child hiding from his parents. If I were his parents, I wouldn't leave him alone for a minute. I'll bet my life that someone's looking for him, Captain.
You just might be right, Mr. Ellis.
Well, this is another fine mess we're in, Jim.
Any ideas on how to get out of this, Bones?
Well, looking at it from a medical perspective, we might view Trelane as a biological control network. And everything else that's going on is controlled by Trelane.
And?
What happens if Trelane loses control? Immaturity does seem to be Trelane's only weakness.
That's dangerous, Bones.
Like playing with a phaser on overload, but that's the only thing I can think of right now.
All right, Trelane, why don't we end this farce? I'm the one who humiliated you. I'm the reason your parents punished you. Let the others and their ships go free.
Last time, Captain, you cheated. But if your friends are here, maybe you won't cheat.
I can suggest no logical course of action that can resolve this dilemma.
This is hardly a logical situation, Mr. Spock.
Indeed. Still, I wonder if Trelane realizes the extent of his misrepresentation.
This bottle contains a very realistic reduction of the USS Enterprise.
Jim, is that what I think it is?
It is the Enterprise, Doctor. It is functioning normally, aside from being trapped. The crew are alive and well.
My latest hobby, gentlemen, putting warships in bottles, celebrating the grand martial heritage of your species.
This bottle contains a very realistic reduction of the USS Zimbabwe.
My ship! Bring it back or I'll...
This one's even more savage than the last one of your officers who made the same mistake. My compliments, Captain, on having such a spirited crew. Truly a testament to your fine leadership.
Release him, Trelane. He's done you no harm. Take me in his place. He's not a member of my crew and you know it. Besides, he looks rather peaceful standing there. He's done you no harm. Take...
Ah, the gallant captain, intervening on behalf of one who despises him. Don't worry about him, Captain. Worry about yourself.
I suppose I should thank you, Captain.
Later, Commander.
This bottle contains a very realistic reduction of the SS Manikier, a Denebian transport. This bottle contains a very realistic reduction of the SS Shinobi, a freighter.
Captain, the painting is another power object. Is it really necessary to use firearms?
It's a power object. You remember what happened the last time I shot one of his power objects?
Yes, it was destroyed. Trelane's power faded until he activated a secondary power object. We need to find a more permanent solution, Captain.
Trelane, the Baron of Gothos, smirks triumphantly as the little drama unfolds. Weird stuff, Mr. Ellis thinks. Why did I have to get mixed up with the Enterprise and their weird stuff?
Well, Captain, I suppose you're about to make your grand plan of escape?
You must think you're pretty clever, Trelane, with your replica of the First World War. Why should I have to make a grand plan to escape from a loser like you? I don't have to do anything. Eventually, your parents are going to find you and discipline you again.
Fortunately, Kirk, my parents are otherwise occupied. They won't interrupt me when I'm winning.
But you have to compete first, before you can win. Send the others away, safely, and I'll give you a chance at revenge. That's odd. I was sure I detected other power sources converging towards us when I was on the Enterprise. You weren't winning, Trelane. You never were. You had tremendous powers, you had a weapon, and I didn't. And you still fell on your face. That's odd. I was sure...
No, you didn't. It's nowhere near me. But there's no harm in making sure we aren't seen. She's gone. Now I have to think of the proper way to destroy my enemies. You have a brief respite before your destruction. Well, Captain, I suppose you're about to make your grand plan of escape?
You must think you're pretty clever, Trelane, with your replica of the First World War.
Why, thank you, Captain.
I wasn't complimenting you, Trelane. I've never seen such a piece of nonsense in my life. Although you could have made that trench scene much more realistic. If World War I had been the way you depicted, human history would have been a lot less bloody. Although you could have made that...
Really, Captain?
Look into the memory banks of the Enterprise, Trelane, recreate what's in there, and let me show you firsthand the glory of one of the bloodiest conflicts in human history. Not a liar, just misinformed. Use the memory banks of the Enterprise, Trelane. Recreate what's in there. War at its most realistic and terrifying.